So as you can see from my casual dressing, I'm on holiday, but this didn't prevent me from finding a great deal. So yesterday I got delivered this very glass, which I tried already. If you missed the episode, please find it up here. I was still in Vancouver and I borrowed it from a friend, and I was trying Sony for the very first time, and I did realize that zoom, for how weird it was, the focal length, because it's a 20-70, it was already sharp wide open at f4. So why did I change my mind months later? Why am I switching to an f4 glass? If you follow the channel for a while, guys, you know that I'm an engagement proposal photographer or a portrait photographer in general. So I shoot people ambient in Lake Como, and so I was used to my 24-70 from Sigma, which is an f2.8 zoom glass with great image quality, but that was not enough for me, or my clients don't deserve it. Why am I changing it? Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from One Lens Only, and today, yes, I want to talk about this very glass. So now let me open it with you. I did the unboxing already. It was recorded with my phone because since I'm on holiday and I want to dedicate the best time to my family, I didn't get my Sony with me. Reason for which, yes, I got the glass delivered, but it will be mounted only end of month. So this is the hood. As you can see, a regular Sony plasticky hood, and here we have the glass itself. Now, I have to say, I had already plain Jane glasses because it's not a G Master, it's a plain Jane with the black G, which I think suits to the best my Sony A7C Mark II. Now, a few words about the construction quality of this glass. This glass, it's just perfect. It is very well assembled. It's not a metal assembly, it's a plasticky, but that plastic that is supposed to last for a whole life. And then it has the zoom ring, which is not too sticky, not too loose, just good enough. It has two function buttons, one from when you're shooting in portrait and the other one for when you're shooting in landscape, and then you have the aperture ring that can be blocked and also can be declicked. So we will now declick it, and as you can see, we have this will be great for video. But why am I switching to this glass? Now, I'm not simply adding it to my collection. As you know, I'm a one lens only guy and a one-man band. The reason for which every choice that I make about gear is to make my life easier or to add something. Maybe it was to add some speed, maybe it's to add some depth of field, maybe to simplify the workflow, and for that very reason I purchased the Insta360 X5, which I'm adding on top of my camera thanks to the cage that I'm using, which is a small rig cage. But what about this lens? Months later, I used it for the very last time. I realized that this glass, I didn't get it then, I got it now. This glass is basically merging a 24-70 and a 16-35, because all the focal length in between, well, this doesn't get as wide as 16mm, but we'll see together why 20 is enough, especially if you are a photographer first, but I'm also casual shooter, hybrid shooter with video. And so, well, first it has a 72mm filter thread, which is way smaller than my Sigma, which has an 82mm filter thread. So this is less wide inside, and it's also shorter in size, and it's also lighter in weight. And so since I'm using a compact camera such as an A7C Mark II, well, that big of a glass of a Sigma, for how good it is, it's not really getting on par, it's not getting along very well with my Sony A7C Mark II. Reason for which, when I started considering changes, you know, over summertime you have plenty of offers from all the camera brands, from all the glasses, the lens producers, and you are really embarrassed because they apparently throw cameras and glasses at you for only a few $100. Now, I really love my camera and I'm not changing it anytime soon. I'm considering the A7 IV, but that's for a later investment, maybe next year. But when it comes down to glasses, well, I'm always trying to get the best possible for my clients. So if you follow the channel for a while, you know that in this very year, 2026, I had the chance to try the Sony 24-50, which is a great glass. It's very comparable to this one. We will see later why. Then I tried the Tamron 28-75. It was a tad too tight for me with 28 mil on the white end, so I had to give it away. And then I tried all the three great, beautiful Sigma zoom lenses, the 28-45 f2.8, which was very good, and I could recommend it despite it's not so versatile because the focal range was limited. Then I tried the Sigma 28-105 f2.8, and I loved it because with the compression at 105, when I'm shooting couples or proposal engagement, I had great image quality results, but it was too big and too heavy. It's almost 900 grams a kilo in weight, and so it was so front heavy on my camera. And then eventually, sorry, that's I don't know, an ambulance or the police passing by. I hope it doesn't get into the mic. And then eventually I found some peace of mind with the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 Art Mark II, which is a great glass, probably the best zoom lens I use for my engagement proposals, photos, and for the portraits in general. But then after a few months, I'm using it since March, if I'm not mistaken. Today it's July, so I'm already bored of it. I'm already done with that glass because it's too big and heavy. And so even when I'm going around and I want to be simple and lightweight, and I only take my camera in the sling bag and a couple of extra batteries and eventually only the flashlight on top, well, that glass, I mean, it's not so big. There are bigger glasses, and it's not so heavy, but paired to my camera, it's front heavy, and so it was not a great match. Second reason for the change, this is a Sony glass, meaning that it's getting along with my camera oh so well. So it has the in-camera correction for the image. So it has color, it has distortion correction, it has breathing compensation, it has many things that are corrected directly in camera, and once again it makes my workflow leaner, smoother, and not to mention that this black G, I love it oh so much because I think it's beautiful, much more than the red G. I want to be stealthy, and so my A7C Mark II is not the silver and black, it's completely blacked out, and this is completely blacked out, and I think it gets along quite well. But another and probably the most important thing is that when I'm shooting, when I'm recording videos, well, this is a 20 mil, sorry, I have to go for the zoom in camera. This has a 20 mil width, meaning that when I'm using my camera, now it's a limitation that I have on my camera, only on the new ones there is not. When I'm using the dynamic active stab on my camera, it crops in APS-C mode, and so this would become a 30 mil, while my original Sigma, which has 24 mil, would become a 35. So it changes way too much the framing, and so since I'm a hybrid shooter, switching from photos to videos, I already have to adjust the shutter speed and stuff, and also I will have to reframe every time that I switch from photos to video. Why here with a 20 mil max width, even if I'm using the APS-C mode, or if I'm using the clear image zoom, or if I'm using the dynamic active stab, I have enough room, I have enough buffer, because the 20 mil becomes a 30 mil, and so this gives me much more ease. My workflow it's way better. Now I don't have the chance to show you a few images taken with this lens because I will only use it end of month, but stay with me because end of month we will have the side-to-side comparison with the Sigma, so I will show you exactly how smaller this one is, and then we're probably mounting the additional filter here. I normally use the K&F Concept magnetic filter. They are sending me as we speak the CPL because when I'm out and about, well, I use a variable ND filter when I'm shooting videos, and when I'm recording videos I'm using an adapter because I have the variable ND filter in 82 mil filter thread, so I will adapt it down to 72, which is fine because it prevents me from having the vignetting. So normally you use a bigger filter with the adapter so you don't have vignetting at any focal range, even when I'm super wide or when I'm zooming in. It is a tad bigger than this glass, but it's fine because also with the ND filter you don't use the lens hood. But for the CPL is something that I use quite often because especially in spring and in fall, well, you want to give much more brilliance to the colors, and so the CPL I use it quite often, and with the magnetic filter in here it fits exactly inside the hood. So I can use the CPL and the hood, and then eventually when you flip out the hood the other way around, I will have the magnetic lid in front, and I can dismiss this one because this is a pain in the neck. I never liked the lids with the springs. I always preferred the magnetic. So guys, stay tuned. Let me know down here in the comments if you have any question about this lens choice and the switch from 24 to 70. Let me know if you did it already. I'm not trying to convince you, but I'm just sharing with you my choices and the reason behind them and how it impacts my workflow, so you have more information in case you are wondering the same switch. And with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss no videos to come. And I guess I will see you later. Thank you. Bye bye.